Hey, so last part, this is part 2, and this is the last part of it where we're going to create piecewise functions from the graph. So again, this is review part 2 of piecewise functions. And so here we're going to take a look at each one of these pieces. Remember, there's 3 equations here, so there should be 3 different equations. So 3 different graphs, so there should be 3 different equations, 3 different pieces. So when we look at it, that's what we're going to be dealing with, and it's important that we get this right, get it right. All right, so looking at the first part here, we have one equation. So equation 1, we know this is actually constant. It's a constant function. So here, if we look at it, we know a constant function is just like f of x equals a number. So here we're going to do f of x equals, and since it's a constant at y equals 2, that's f of x equals 2 here. So it stays flat all the way across. But remember, with this, you must find your domain for it too. So we must find our domain here, and then we can be able to tell, like, okay, what's really happening. All right, so a domain, it starts at -2, and then it goes back this way. So it starts at -2, but then it goes less than that. All numbers that are less than. So here we have x is going to be less than -2. Remember, less than means that it should be an open circle, but it's a closed circle. So it means we have an equal to sign there. So x is less than or equal to -2. So -2 starts there, and all the numbers are less than -2. Less than or equal to. All right, so that's our first equation. F of x equals 2, with our domain being x is less than or equal to -2. Right, so that was an easy one. That's the easy one to start with. Number 2, equation 2. We know this is linear because this is a diagonal line. So it's linear. So it means we should have f of x equals a parentheses x plus b parentheses plus c. No exponents there because it's linear. We just have to figure out what is our a, what's our b, and what's our c. And here it's supposed to be going through 0, 0. So it's not really doing it, but it's supposed to be going through 0, 0. So that should make it a little bit easier here. All right, so first off, a is our slope. All right, so here that means rise over run. So I'm going to start here at -2. Well, sorry, say -2, -1. And I'm going to go to here to find out what my slope is. So I'm going to rise over run. So we're going to rise. So 1, 2, went up 2, and then over 1, 2, 3 to the right. So rise over run to rise up 2. 1, 2, go over to the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So our A is 2/3. 2/3. Right? So that's our A. Our B asks, okay, is this moving left or right? Remember, we start with 0, 0. At 0, 0, does it go up, down, left, or right? No, it stays right there. It goes through 0, 0, like it's supposed to. At least it's supposed to go through 0, 0. So here it goes through 0, 0. So there's no transformations happening moving left or right. So here, B, there is none. All right, then C. Does it go up or down? From origin, does it go up here? Does it go down there? Nope, it stays right there. So it goes through the origin. It stays right there. So here, there's none here either. So our equation for this function will be f of x equals 2/3 x plus 0 plus 0, which is just 2/3 x. All right, so with that being said, here, yeah, it's weird. It's not, the equation is going to be weird, but it's okay. All right, so with this part here, we're going to take a look at domain. So it starts at -2 and it ends at 1. So it starts at -2, ends at 1. So x is between that. It's an open circle at -2. It's a closed circle at 1. So we have to put the equal to sign there so that it's 1. All right, so that's our domain for that. All right, so then the last part, that's equation 2. Last part is equation 3. And again, for equation 3, that is a linear function. All right, so here it's linear, so we have that going on. Again, we have to find our slope, the rise of a run. All right, so I'm going to start here at 1, 1, -1, and then I'm going to go down to 2, -2. And we should be able to figure that out really quickly, really quickly. All right, so here we're going to go down 1 and to the right 1. So we're going down 1 to the right 1. So it's not rising, but we're falling. So -1 and then to the right 1. So our slope is -1. And again, that negative is going to tell us it's going to flip, which this graph does flip if you see it. All right, so then let's go ahead and go from everything else. So here we start at the origin. If you look at it, it went over to the right 1. That's your B. Went to the right 1, which means that it'll be a -1 for B. And then it goes down 1. And that's your C. Went down 1. So that's -1. So putting it to our equation, it's nothing but ones there, guys. Easy equation. Easy. All right, so A is -1. B is -1. And C is -1. All right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop that in 1 in front here because it's not important. We don't really need it. If you want to keep it there, it's fine. But if you look at a multiple choice answer, that -1 won't stay there. All right. Now, the last part, we have our equation. The last part is figuring out where it starts and where it stops, the domain. So here we can see it starts at 1. Starts at 1. But then it goes on forever. It doesn't stop. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So for the x values, it goes from x equaling 1 and greater than that. So here, I'm going to say x is greater than 1 because it's all the numbers that are greater than that. Again, if you need to see interval notation, we know we start at 1 and go to positive infinity. So 1 to positive infinity there, that is x is greater than 1. Especially when it's in parentheses right there, 1. All right, so we get our domain. So now the last piece is putting everything together, putting it all together. Right. Answer. Whew, if I could spell right, that'd be wonderful, guys. Sorry about that. Answer. All right, so our answer here is putting everything together. We're going to say f of x is the big function. So we're going to say 2 if x is less than or equal to -2. We'll say 2/3 x if x is between -2 and 1, sorry. And then our last one is what we just wrote down, -x minus 1 if x is greater than 1. And that's it, guys. We found it. We found our answer. So again, with that, you're going to have to take your time through it. Remember how everything works, transformations and everything. Again, if you need to go back and look at the videos that we did earlier for this, for piecewise functions, transformations, graphs, graphing it and creating the piecewise functions from the graph, go back and look at those. Those videos are up there for you. And that should be from the February agenda. So go back to February agenda and you'll see all that up there. All right. That's it for day 2.